Hello, everyone. I am so excited for this conversation today. As you know, Nicole Cowley and myself have been doing a series on wealth reimagined. And it's really about taking ownership of our finances, but from an empowered position where we can create and it is abundant and all of those things. So Nicole and I are mindset and transformational coaches. And so we speak about a lot of different things, although money isn't actually something that I would have put on my resume. And so I think that it's really cool that we've started this conversation in this series about wealth reimagined, but it was natural possession to just come in here and invite panelists to come and bring a different perspective. So today here, we're all about bringing these experts because they are specialists in their own right. I want to say more than experts, more than an expertise, a specialist. So I'm going to give each and every person a chance to introduce themselves and then tease out a little bit about your belief about money, because we're going to go deeper into that as we go. So my name's Debbie Prediger. I'm the founder of Empowering You Community, and it's all about empowering others and building community and connection. But Nicole, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. Hello, everyone. Super excited to be here with all these beautiful women. And my name is Nicole Cowley. I am the owner of Next Step with Nicole Renee. I'm a transformational coach. So I really help women empower themselves from the inside out, their mind, body, and soul. It's what I love to do. And today I'm really excited to talk about money because I know with many of my clients, this is a topic that comes up on a regular basis and is something that I think is a really important topic to talk about. And I would love to next introduce Sheetal.
Thank you for having me. So my name is Sheetal Story. I probably am the wooiest person on this panel. I'm pretty much the wooiest person in every room. So my name is Sheetal. I am a psychic medium, a grief support counselor, a professional astrologer and human design coach, and a law of attraction master coach. So I do have my designation with NLP, CBT. I've got the psychology piece, and then I've got the very, very psychic, spiritual side of things. So money is such an interesting energy and tool and things that I've had to deal with in my life. So I'm so excited to be with you all on this panel and to talk more about this topic in a way that maybe people haven't thought about. So I thank you for having me.
So grateful. And Jennifer.
Thank you. I am Jennifer Cavender. I spent 21 years as a CPA, basically accounting for other people's money. And I left that career because I realized that I really wanted to use my innate strengths and the things that I love doing more to help organizations and businesses. And what I really knew was possible through my own journey was to have more joy in the workplace. And so I was set on a path to rediscover how we create and reignite joy in a work setting. And so now that's what I do. I consult and coach with executives and organizations to help them reignite joy in their workplace for more productivity, resilience, engagement, all of the things.
Mm, I love it. This is going to be such a rich conversation. And with that, I'd love to kick us off with the first question. And we'll keep our answers shorter for this one, just because we're going to give you opportunity to expand on it. So, but I really would love to know from each and every one of you, and we're going to start with you, Jennifer, is what does wealth actually mean to you?
Such a really fun question. Thank you for asking that first, because I was asked actually to define this recently by another mentor. And when you think about wealth, we almost automatically go to money. But over the last 3 years in my entrepreneurial journey and in my life journey, the definition of wealth for me is very different than it used to be. It used to be that I looked every day at other people's wealth, and I looked and I saw their, money or their money challenges. And today, wealth for me is shifting and very different, continues to shift and very different from that. Wealth to me is really feeling secure in who I am, really knowing that the things and the gifts that I've been given from my creator are being utilized in the best way possible, so that when I go to sleep at night, I feel complete. There's nothing that gives me fear or insecurity that I'm not in the exact place that I'm meant to be. And isn't that what we're seeking when we're seeking wealth, when we're seeking money? We think the money is going to provide freedom and security and all and happiness. And so for me, the wealth is now the things that I previously thought money would give me.
Oof. That is a tough act to follow. You absolutely nailed it and took words out of my mouth. But Nicole, I'm going to have you go next to deepen. What does wealth mean to you?
Yeah, well, that was so beautiful, Jennifer. And I resonated so much with everything you were saying. And I think, for me, wealth, for sure, the first thing I've always thought about was money. Always, it was money and what money can do and who has the money and, watching everybody and the way they spend their money. And it was all money. And the more I have evolved and the more I have, learned more about myself and about life and about people, I realize how wealth is a very different definition now. And for me, wealth is all about being happy, healthy, and then wealthy, like all of it together. So it's like financial freedom, but it's also like the health that I feel like when I feel vibrant and alive, that to me is so wealthy, so abundant, it's so incredible. And when I'm happy, I can't even I can't even express what that feels like. And to me, all of those together really create wealth for me. And I can see it I can see it when I even just look at my children. I can see it when I look around my home and I get to see just the food that's in my fridge, or I get to look at, even having gas in my car. These are all things which obviously come down to gratitude, but it is that feeling of like, oh, I have so much more than I ever thought I had. And so for me, that is where I have now seen wealth at a very different place, which feels so good on the heart. It feels so good on the heart because it's not related to the money in the bank, but it's the feeling in here that is really creating that for me.
Wow, that was beautiful. Okay, you're up. And now is it Sheetal or Chantel or
It's
Sheetal?
Sheetal. It's phonetic.
Sheetal. Sorry about that. I meant to ask you that earlier. So I would love to hear your perspective because you actually bring in like that human design element where there's a little bit of science and stuff behind it. You bring a lot of science in with the neuro, and then you have a lot of woo of like, I feel it in my soul. So I'm excited about this.
Well, it's energy. I mean, I live in the world of energy, right? In a lot of what I do, and I help women who are moving through hard transitions and to really use their wealth in a way that feels aligned to them. So for me, I actually wrote it down as I was listening to everyone. It's joy, alignment, and freedom is what wealth is. And that without that alignment with our truest self, wealth, money means nothing, right? And I think Jennifer really spoke lovely, very well to that, is that we can have all the money in the bank, but if you are living someone else's life, living a career that doesn't bring you joy, in a relationship that's sucking you dry, then none of that matters. So that joyful alignment and freedom are all what wealth means to me. And being a woman of color as well, access is also wealth. So that means access to healthcare, access to trips, access to taking my children, having experiences with them, right? That's joy. So wealth gives access as well. And I think we often sort of forget about that when we live in the space of self-development and personal development. It's like, yes, wealth is like health, wealth, and happiness, right? I was like, and it also pays the bills, let's be honest, right? So when we can have that paid for, we feel safe, we feel secure. And that freedom then is really what wealth means for us, is that we can be free to know that there's money in the bank, that our mortgage is paid for, that we have somewhere to sleep at night. And that freedom and then allows us to really live a most joyfully aligned life. So we need all of those. Money gives us access to things, and I think we often will forget about it, or hear people in the wealth space often say, well, money doesn't buy you happiness. I'm like, but it does buy you a faster place in the lineup. It does get you Taylor Swift tickets. Like, you know, you can get more joyful things with money than without, right? So yes, the access is a really important piece there, but it has to come with joyful alignment. And the freedom is what comes. You're free to be who you are. You know, that doesn't happen when you don't have money.
Okay, so we have had 3 amazing descriptions of, and felt it, of what wealth actually means. Hearing each other, did anything new come up that you're like, oh, I forgot about this thing? Just want to give you guys an opportunity to add to that if it felt.
I didn't really have something come up. I want to hear your perspective on this too, Debbie. So I want to have your perspective on it, because I want to hear your definition of wealth. But I think when I was listening to Jennifer and Sheetal talk about it, it is so true. Freedom. I think that's the word I hear all the time with money, is freedom. And it is true. Like, you can go to Taylor Swift, and you can go on these beautiful trips, and you can have that luxurious dinner that you would love to have. And, you know, or you can educate yourself, and you can help others at a much higher level when you do have the money. So thank you all for what you have said. And I would love to know yours, Debbie, what you would have to say on that.
Well, thanks. You just caught me, because I was like, I don't know if I have anything new to say to what all of you guys said, but really what I'll just drive home is it is that alignment. It's that alignment to self, of what that capacity that you are able to receive and to feel fulfilled and not triggered, like, oh, is it too much? Or is that all that type of thing? So that wealth is that place where everything flows. It's that I feel so at peace and so blessed and so wealthy. And a wealthy, I feel held and secure and safe and all of those things. And so you've said freedom many times. And for me, freedom is choice. Freedom is choice. I do not have to worry about what I spend. I do not have to stress about this or this. I can choose from that place of I'm empowered and I have a choice. And I am so grateful for that.
So good, Debbie. I thought that was so beautiful choice. I think we are all, you know, so wanting to have the ability to make the choice, to be able to say, this is what I do want to do. And that was so beautifully said. Thank you.
Yeah. So Jennifer, I would love to come back to you on a deeper conversation of, was there ever a struggle between like a CPA brain where it's like, you know, checks and balances, and then the spiritual aligned, you know, essence of like, I know this to be true and I'm not feeding it into you. So you take it any way you want to take it. But that's my question for you.
Yes, definitely. I grew up in a household that was not financially wealthy and always came from a place of lack. So the mindset that I was taught was that you know, we always had debt. We could never go on vacations. It was never extra. Money was hard to earn, all of those things. So I chose a very safe and secure career so that I wouldn't struggle with those things. And then as I learned and went throughout my career and watched other people and the wealth that other people had and their actual lifestyle, I didn't actually want the lifestyle that they had. And so I became really confused about money because I had this old belief that I didn't realize I had. And then I was watching others that were wealthy without having what I desired and I thought wealth was going to give me. And so it really took this like entrepreneurial journey to help realize that what I'm seeking will come when I'm seeking the actual definition of my own wealth, right? When I come from a place of I want to be able to spend time with my family in a beautiful place somewhere in the world. I desire to be able to sleep until 8 a.m., which I never could do in my career, and start my day, in a relaxing, beautiful, spiritual way. Those were the things that brought me joy and made me feel like I was wealthy. And so it took a journey of redefining what wealth was for me, and then putting aside I have to attain or be like these other rich people in order to have that. And so it's just a different perspective on the goals that I had and the things that I was seeking.
I love that perspective. It really feels like, again, we can go back to the basics of coaching. It's like, who are you at a soul essence? Because once we have that, then we can build out the rest of your life, whether it be your business or your personal. Is like we lose that. So whenever there's that confusion and then you seek that clarity, oh my goodness, we've been talking about alignment all the way through here. There is an alignment because you know what you know what you know. It is not what someone else told you wealth was. So thank you, Jennifer, for taking us on that journey of what you had to go through to learn that. So I would love to hear a little bit about the human design aspect, because I feel like women can sometimes like chase the money or do the things because they think it'll bring them the money that thinks that it'll bring them something else. And so how do we stop chasing it and actually attract it? And is that something that a human design expert can tell me? You're smiling. I'm like, yes, yes, yes.
It's like, can you give me the lottery numbers, right? It isn't that simple in terms of, your design. So as a professional astrologer and a human design reader, we have a cosmic design. So for those of you who might be watching and don't know what human design is, it's based on your birth time, and it's a combination of the Kabbalah, the chakra system, the I Ching, there's a lot, the astrology, there's 5 modalities in there. And so in all of that, we sort of see what you were born with. We see your gifts and talents. We can see your struggles, and we can see the way that you are meant to operate. But you are not conditioned that way. Right? Society wants you to work hard, right? To become an accountant, get all the money, and retire, later in life. And being a first generation Canadian, my parents are immigrants. So I was modeled work hard, right? Work hard for your money. The harder you work, the more money you'll make. That is actually counterintuitive to my human design. So my human design is I'm very creative. And my creativity brings me abundance. It brings me success and wealth if I follow it. But society does not say you can be a multi-passionate creative and make money, right? Artists are starving. Like, don't do that, right? Become an accountant, become a doctor. My culture, become a doctor. You'll be nice and you're good. Everyone will love you. And we don't really want to do that. Not every East Indian child wants to be a doctor. So the human design piece, I feel like, gives you permission to be yourself, right? It just gives you permission to follow your own knowing, and it gives you a bit of a blueprint to follow that. Astrology does the same. But I find human design is easier to read because you don't need to know all the hieroglyphics. And so it's why I went into that after getting my astrology designation. And so one of the things that I noticed with human design for me, I remember with a mentor. So I have a business degree. I might surprise some people. I have a business degree. I've come through, university, corporate background. I was in purchasing and supply chain. And when my gifts started to open up, I started to kind of follow those gifts because all the doors started to open there. But if you'd asked me in my 20s, I'm going to retire being the VP of purchasing, somewhere. If you said you're going to be a psychic medium, booked out clients for 6 months, I was like, oh, what are you talking about? I'm never going to be an entrepreneur. But my chart is actually wired for being an entrepreneur. So I meant to work at my own pace. I meant to, and I love what Jennifer said about like getting up at 8. I was like, yes, and having that life where you are living, and that is abundance. So for me, I had a mentor that said to me one time, she said, you're taking up too many things. And she said this, you're a jack of all trades, but a master of none. And I remember thinking in my heart, like, that doesn't feel right. Like I know you're my mentor, but I think you're lying. Like, there's just something about my heart was just like, no, 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 no. And then later, a few years later, I actually heard on TikTok, of all places, right? Don't we all get our info from TikTok? And it's a jack of all trades is a master of none, but still better than a master of one. That is actually the full saying. So you're meant to be a multi-passionate creative. Like, and I think human design and astrology gives you the permission to just follow your heart, right? I hear that so much in my clients. Like, I have coaching clients. I have 7-figure, 8-figure CEO women that I coach as well, to stay in their alignment and see around corners with my psychic abilities. And then also women that are coming through grief. And it's like, what is actually in your heart, right? Who told you you can't do it this way? So, are there abundance channels and gates and stuff like that predispose you to prosperity in the chart? Yes. I have none of them. Like, I remember taking that up in human design. I was like, oh, this is good. Am I not predisposed to wealth? And the teacher's like, that is not true, Sheetal. It's how you use your gifts. Right. And I think that's the key here, is how you use your gifts brings wealth into your life. So if you're living a beautiful life, like one of the women I was coaching, her only want in life, I kid you not, was to be an accountant. That's what she wanted to be. But she was a top level CEO of the company. And I was like, okay, accountant. So tell me more about that. She's like, I want to help people build their businesses. And she ended up moving into a job where she's now a general manager of a small business that is killing it. Right. So living your purpose in the world and doing what you love, the money will come with strategy and expertise that comes with that. But we must be in alignment with our true heart self. So I think human design and astrology gives us those tools to sort of say, no, you're okay to be a multi-passionate creative, or you're okay to be like, there's a designation in human design called a projector. So it's a type, and there's 5 different types. And so projector, they need to go to their own level of energy. They need a lot of sleep. They're advisors. They have to be they wait to be invited in. And my youngest child, who's 14, is a projector. All the rest of us are a different type. So when he's sleeping all the time, and then he gets these bursts of energy to do creative projects, and my husband's like, oh, he's sleeping all the time and he doesn't, like, what is this? I'm like, he's a projector. It's okay. This is the way he's meant to operate. And he feels so seen, because when he does have that energy and creativity, he cleaned out the pantry one time when we were on a date, like at 10 years old. Like 10, I'm ashamed to say there was 4 garbage bags, abundance of stuff that came out of the pantry that was outdated. But this little projector got all the energy to do something that we haven't gotten done in 2 years, So it's, everybody has their way of working. And that's where the abundance is like, isn't that what we all want, is just to be seen and heard for who we are. So it's about following your heart. I think I just give permission to people to be who they are. Right.
You really simplified that. I give people permission to be who they are. Well, thank you for doing that, because I agree. When I'm a projector, and when somebody told me that, like, about human design, I was like, you mean I'm not wrong? Right? Like, I had been making myself wrong and trying to fit into a box for so long. And there is definitely things that I can relate to, and there's things that I do not know nothing about, which I need to come to you to help steer me into those things. Because as anything in coaching, you can go too far this way or too far that way, and you're just out of alignment. Just coming back into homeostasis gets it all in flow, and we're working perfectly. So I'm coming to you for a tune-up.
I'm honored. I'm honored. I love what you said. You get too much one way, too much the other. It's you're listening to yourself above all else, right? Like, there's lots of people DMing me on social media and saying, should I take this? Should I take this? You're talking about this. And I always say, here's the pros and cons. Trust yourself. What is your intuition telling you? I'm not trying to sell you anything. I don't want you in this program if it doesn't feel aligned for you. And I don't sell like that. And that's not who I am as an entrepreneur either. So I've been with coaches that are like, sell, close the deal, cold call and DM. And I was like, no, that is not how I work, and I will not do it. And I can still I've had a coach say, you will not be successful because you can't do it this way. And I said, watch me.
Watch me. I think that's why we're all here today, is that we've all found a path that what felt good to us, not because we followed a guru, but we actually followed ourselves. And so I would love, and many of us have gone down many paths to get to this place today. So I think we'll talk about that a little bit afterwards. But Nicole, your clients come to you for a lot of different things because you are definitely multi-talented and multi-passionate. And each one of those you almost become obsessed with, because you're like, I want to drill down. I want to know the details. I want to be making sure that I'm really good at this so that I can help my clients in the most professional way. But what do you see stands between most women or your clients between wealth building and thinking it's for someone else, not them?
Yeah, it's such a good question. And I want to come back to Sheetal for 1 second on this generate on all the things, because I think lots of times we are told the way it's supposed to go and the way you're supposed to do things. And I have been told that I'm a manifesting generator. So I love lots of things. I love lots of things, and I like creating, and I like, I get really excited about things. And many times I've been told that's wrong too, and that it's not the way to do it. And so when you were asking me what gets in the way with a lot of women when they come to see me, first of all, one of the main things is self-esteem and self-confidence. I think that's one of the biggest ones is, as women, we have been told many things about how we have to live life, who we have to be, the way you should raise your kids, the kind of job you should have, what it looks like to be in the home, outside of the home, all these stories that are always there. And they're the things that are really driving us lots of times to do the things that we are doing in our life, yet they're not necessarily what we want to do or who we want to be. And so I think what Sheetal was saying on there is this permission to be yourself is one of the most important things we can do for people, is to help people really live into who they want to be. And stories are super powerful. They're super powerful. They come from when we're really young, a lot of us, but it can come all the way through, just depending on who you've interacted with and who you've been, in alignment with over time. And I find that when we can really look at these stories and we can, bring them down to what they really are, most of the time they're not true. Most of the stories aren't true, yet we're living them and we believe them. And that is actually what's taking us on this trajectory to sometimes where we don't even want to go. And so when you're asking this, Debbie, that question was so good, because so many women that I talk to actually don't even know what they want. They haven't taken the time to even ask themselves what they want, because they don't believe that it's important right now. I have children to raise, I have a home to take care of, I have a job to go to. Like, I don't have time to ask for it. In fact, I had somebody tell me that. I did a presentation. A few women came up to me after, and they're like, I haven't even asked myself what I want. Like, I don't have time to ask myself what I want. And so I think one of the things is that we haven't even sat down and said, what is it that we truly want? And until we know what it is we really want, we have nothing to move towards. We have nothing to go towards, right? And so once we decide what we really want and have permission to allow ourselves to desire what we really want, then we can start the path. Then we can start to figure out what's holding us back. Then we can start to figure out where we want to go. But I think lots of times it's not even knowing what we want. And that's where I love to help people open that up for themselves, because once you open up that box that you're allowed to have things and want things and do things, you see them just be like, my life, I can do so much more. It was this small and now it's like this big, right? And so that's what I really, really love is, first of all, getting them to figure out what it is they truly do want in their life. And then next, finding out why they don't have it and why it isn't there. And let's get rid of those stories, because those stories are not serving them, because it is not allowing them to be in deep alignment with their joy, their happiness, their passion, who they are. So that is my little answer on that one. But
I love it. Thank you so much for that. So, for me, I think that community and connection is so important for me, and it really is wealth. For me, having people surrounding me in all aspects of life, whether that be in my personal life and my friends, to my business, or my clients, which I call friends. If I don't feel like we're connected to self, I feel extremely poor. When I am connected to self and connected to others, I feel extremely rich. And I want other people to feel that too. But it's been through a journey of self-discovery and really going deep into what is my old beliefs and patterns and habits and all of the things. And one of the things that has come up is that there was a time that I felt so completely alone. And at that time I felt alone. I felt like I had zero choice. And I was so broke, which added to the zero choice, that I couldn't see myself out of that. And so me, I'm always building communities, but I'm always also building possibility and hope. I really want to help people see their desires, to recognize them as the truth, that that is the truth of who you are. And it doesn't matter if anybody else has that desire or not. One of the saddest things and that I can witness is somebody that's being told to be a doctor, but they want to play guitar around the world. Like, who's to say one is more richer than the other? I say the only reason we take a career and get paid for that career is so that we can do the things we love to do in our free time. So what if we build a career and a lifestyle that we can actually choose to do the things that we love to do, and we get paid for it? We don't have to take the yucky job and pass it over here and spend the money. Like, let's just have the fun. And so it's through community and connection and knowing myself more that has allowed me, and through my clients teach me every day when they come up with that like gap. I say I want this, but I don't take action towards it. Well, what's the story in between that you're telling yourself? And so each one of those stories helps me go deeper into my own story. And there is definitely a poverty mindset from times in my life, and others come first. So I'll take the little pieces of bread that's left over instead of creating the bread and knowing that there's more bread, right? And so as we talk about all of these different wealth reimagined, we have to look at our limiting beliefs or the things that's running in our programming so that we can get down to, oh, that's not the truth. That's not the truth. And I think that we give each other in conversation like this the permission to know and really go, I've always felt that didn't feel right to me. That felt off, but everybody else thinks that way. So what's wrong with me? No, no, no. You have it right. It's okay to be a disruptor. It's okay to be the first one in your family that believes something different. So that's my next question, is what is something that you or your clients that you see as a belief that you now know is BS? You either believed it or you see it in your group or community and you now know is BS. Do you want to start, Jennifer?
How do I narrow it? That's my question. I mean, the money doesn't grow on trees one is common, right? So we'll just start there. I mean, this is just the idea that it's hard work. It's not something that just comes to you. You're not obligated to have it. Those kinds of beliefs around, it's not easy. It's not like I can just go out and do something that I love, like walking through a field of apples and grab food, right? Or grab money. And so the idea of beliefs is really key, I think, to this whole shift. And it's something that Kyle Cease actually talks about in The Illusion of Money. And actually, just the chapter that I was listening to this morning is on this, because he really talks about not identifying those beliefs and knowing that you can shift them and that will help your progress. But he talks about really accepting that belief and not rejecting it as bad or something that you want to get rid of, but he talks about loving that belief and really connecting. Like, I think he gives this example of, if there's a murderer in your house and you're trying to paint your walls, you need to love the murderer so that he doesn't murder you before you paint your walls, right? And it's a really, really strange idea at first, that you get to love your current position. But this is a lesson I feel like I've been in all year, is that how can I love my current moment more, regardless of what it is, without judgment, because it's a part of my journey. It's a part of my lesson. It's, it's where I'm at, and where I'm at is perfect. And so, as opposed to constantly rejecting the beliefs that I have, how can I just love it and then allow it to release? So.
Wow. So much came through as you were speaking that. And that's what I'm really hoping that everybody else is getting out of this. So, I'll watch this on replay because it'll allow me to go back and take notes, but really listening, because there's little whispers and little nudges of something that somebody else said that you're like, oh, I had that belief, or, oh, I am choosing that. And so what you reminded me of is, it's kind of like, if we're always trying to chase away the bad thoughts, we're actually numbing ourselves out because we're not allowing ourselves to see them or feel them. But if we actually look at them like the bully in the room, but we're such a compassionate person that we don't think of people as bullies, we're like, oh, I see you. I get it. I love you. You're just hurt. That's okay, right? It's that hugging that inner child and that inner bully. And then once you see it, it's like, oh, I see you. And then everything changes. And so a lot of people talk about this releasing of thoughts, like it's like work and push and pull and get those thoughts out of there and clean out my, energetic field. And I don't believe that's true. I think it just needs to be seen and appreciated, not judged. And then boom, it's gone. And a new perspective's there and everything's beautiful. So I don't know, but thanks a lot for that. That definitely is one of those beliefs. Sheetal, what is something that you see?
I was thinking, I'm like, what am I not struggling with? Which is a different question, I think. But one of the ones that I feel like you have a belief that creates your identity, right? And so to change your belief, you change your identity. But this belief, you meet it in every level of your evolution. So it's not that you just get rid of it. And I love what Jennifer said there too, is that you're not just getting rid of things, you are actually kind of building on it. And what you resist persists. So to even acknowledge. So one of my beliefs that I have seen in play my whole life, and this is the tricky part, is that I see the benefit of it when it comes up. So I have to lean into the opposite being true, and it's hard work makes me more money. So I see it from my parents. It's from being an child of first generation Canadian, of immigrant parents. My dad's from India, my mom's from Malaysia. Worked multiple jobs. I worked multiple jobs, and even in my business now, the more hours I work, the more clients I take, the more money I make, and it burns out. Like it's a surefire way to the grave, right? An early grave. So I don't want that. So I'm actively always healing it in a way that I'm seeing it. I'm like, I see you. I'm choosing something different, and I'm choosing to work smarter, not harder. So, in terms of scaling your business or raising your prices or deciding not to do something that once gave you money, but you're now evolving into something else, those evolutions and transformations are something I'm actually really actively moving through in this moment. So it's a part of me that I get to meet in every level of my evolution. And I love that part of me so much because she's trying to keep me safe. And every time I just say, I see you, it's okay. And we're going to move to a place where we don't have to work harder, we can work smarter, and we're still valued, and we're still worthy of the money that we're making. Like you don't just, it's not a badge of honor, and you don't qualify for the money. I think that's something I've had lots of conversations with coaches over the years is I have to qualify for this money, right? I see you, Jennifer, right? I got to qualify for this money. I have tons of CPA clients and they always are like, well, is it a billable hour? And I was like, oh, the billable hour, right? The employee mindset. What about you just qualify because you're really making change for this person? And what if you made $1 million for this person with just this 1 hour? Is it worth $200? Is it worth $1 million? Like, well, how much is it worth, right? So I think that worth and value and time spent, those are things that I'm always kind of working through at every level of my evolution. So working harder makes me more money is the belief.
Wow. Yeah, I can so relate to that. Nicole, what about you?
Well, I can relate to everything everybody's saying in here. And, you know, I think what has happened to me over this time, years ago, when I decided to be a stay-at-home mom, I really thought that I couldn't do both really well. I didn't think I could be a good mom and work. I grew up with it. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. My mother-in-law was a stay-at-home mom. And I was like, I don't think I can do both well. Yet I had this desire to work. I had this desire to like create and do these things. And I kept shoving it down, being like, I just can't do both. You know, I didn't even see the perspective that you could do both. I didn't. I just thought that was a deep belief. I can't do both well. And then, you know, the divorce actually made it happen because I really had to step into doing that. And, you know, I now realize that all those stories I was telling myself are not true, that I could have had both at that time. I could have done both things really well. But what other story has come, like, oh my gosh, like when we talk about this, how many stories do we all have and working through all the time? But I also, again, from this time of being a stay-at-home mom and then having to start my business over and do everything, I've had many stories of like, can't do this by myself. I'm a single mom. I only have so many resources. I only have so much time, all of those kind of things. And what I find now really exciting for me is I'm like, watch me. Watch me do this, because this is the thing where I want to prove me wrong. I want to be like, and every time I see somebody else doing it out there, I'm like, it is possible. It is possible. So why am I not, right? And I start to dive into my stories and why I can't believe something differently, and why can I not work smarter and not harder so I can spend time with my kids and do this job that I love so much, which I would never have done this job if I had not actually gone through my divorce and gone through a tough time. I would never have done this. So I think there's so many beliefs that as you evolve and as you keep moving through, you do find new layers of the things that you need to work through. And those new layers are like, woo, again, right? I knew I was working with one client once, and she's like, well, once you get rid of that belief, it's completely gone for sure. And I'm like, not necessarily. Not necessarily, not when you move up, right? Not when you move up to a new level of you. When you move up to a new level of you, you find a new, right? A new devil there that's waiting to say, maybe not for you yet, right? And maybe not for you. And so I think those were stories that I've really had to work through. I've also, you know, lots of times looked at people that are very successful and been like, I guess it's just not for me. I guess it's just not for me. And I see them and I'm like, I just don't know how I'll ever get there. I don't know how I can do it. I guess it's just not for me. Or maybe I'm just not the type of person to do that. Or I can hear my stories and they're so protective, right? They're so protective. Like you guys were just saying, they just want to love you and hold you and be like, yeah, maybe stay right there because that'll keep you, you know, safe. But these are stories that I choose to not hold anymore because I love to see my potential. I love to see what is possible. Yes, it is scary. Yes, it is uncomfortable. And yes, I have many moments still on my knees being like, why? But I choose to try to move through these. And every single time I find these beliefs, I find more about me. And I think that's probably one of the most beautiful things is like I'm finding more of who I am and who I truly want to be. So that is for me. And Debbie, how about for you? What are your beliefs and things that, when it comes around money or when it comes around to what you're doing in this world, what have you found for you?
Well, I've definitely have an evolution of money beliefs. And so as you uncover one, you go, oh, that one definitely was holding me at this ceiling. And now there's something else. And I'll admit that right now that belief is the work harder will bring more money. And so as I am in this place where I am reaching more and more women, I'm like, so I either have to really figure it out, which again, go back into the logical brain and figure it out never worked for me. It's always the answers are here. And so then I see myself on the do it roller coaster instead of the be it. And it's really interesting that as a coach, I can help people stay on that line of like alignment and truth and source and all of that stuff. And then when everybody turns back and says, okay, Debbie, show me the way, I'm like, oh goodness, I'll just work harder so that I can show you the path. And so it really is in community. We've talked about it a lot today, of community and mentorship and people that are in your lives, they matter. Because I'll tell you what, it takes me only 10 minutes. If, like, let's be real, an hour spending with people that believe in something else. And I go back into that place where I don't believe it's possible. But when I hang around people that know that it's possible and they are way showers and they're leading the path forward, I'm like, let's go, let's do it. There's nothing that we can't do. There's nothing we can't solve. So I do a dance with that, work harder, spend more hours, and all of that stuff instead of, and one that came up for me just this week was deserve it. And I realized that I've tied in the deserving with the effort. It has to be hard. So if we talk about manifesting, I'm manifesting hard. Are you kidding me? So I'm working through that one right now. Yeah, some real honesty here.
Yeah, Debbie, I think like the thread going through all of here, is I think this working hard thing has been ingrained in all of us in many, many ways. And but I feel that hearing everybody is that our soul though is calling for more joy, more ease, more, fun, more connection, all of those things. And working harder often does not bring that. It's more disconnection, right? More like we're just working so hard that we're not there in the present moment. We're not even enjoying the things that we actually truly love to do because we're just working hard. And so I thought that was really interesting for all of us on here, that there was a lot of that and breaking free from that. I think a lot of people are like, but how do we do that? How do we break free from this, this feeling of that? And I would love to know any of your suggestions on that for yourselves. What has been the thing that has helped you move away from working harder to create the money, to do the things? What is something that you have done that has helped you move through that and be able to work with more ease, more joy, more fun?
Do you want me to go first?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
I didn't know. So what I do is get back to self. Take that present moment. I have a process that I use essential oils to really unlock the limbic system, because my years of being in fight or flight can really get activated when I'm in that do it mode on that roller coaster. So I reset my limbic system so that I can actually feel more, and I can see and know and have that higher consciousness where I can step in and see the solution. So really, it is, again, what is that limiting belief? What's the gap between what I say I want and what I'm actually willing to do or take action on? And then how can that inner wisdom speak to me, that I hear it and I can take that aligned action from a place of like, oh, that feels so good, versus pushing and pushing and pushing. And so again, awareness first, and then choice, and then take that action, that empowered action from that place.
So good, Debbie. I love that. And I love those, essential oils and different things that you use that for yourself. That is where you feel that calm and that relief and that ease. And I think that's such a beautiful, beautiful way for you to do that. And I love that because I'm sure a lot of people can really relate to me using those and being able to do that too. So thank you. And how about you, Sheetal? What about for you?
I think there's a few things swirling through my head, but one of the things I notice, and I notice in all of us, is we all have the divine feminine and divine masculine, right? So the divine feminine is our intuition, our emotions, our embodiment, flowing with our cosmic design, and the divine masculine is the doing. It's the productivity. It's the need to, pay our bills. It's money is masculine. Magnetism is feminine. So when we are in the doing, we're in the masculine, we are so far out of alignment, right? And we talk a lot about alignment on this session today, is that coming back into alignment for me means that I'm coming back into my intuition, my emotion, because I can sometimes hang out there. And then the doing is like, I have to be sort of initiated. So something will come in that makes me go, okay, then I want to do this thing now. But I'll sometimes, as part of my own authority in human design, I'm a manifesting generator, is that I need to wait for clarity. So until something is clear, it will sit on a shelf for a bit, it'll percolate, and then I'll add some things to it and I'll put it back on the shelf. So for me, waiting is good. It's a healing thing. But one of the things I heard you say, Debbie, that I think would be really important for everyone listening is we have these open centers in our human design. So everyone here, everyone in the world, there's a very few rare that don't have these open centers where we take in the energy of others. And we're meant to do that. So and it's what makes you a great coach, I'm sure, Debbie, right? Because you can hear what they're saying, you take that in and you're, oh, I know exactly what needs to come from this. And it helps you to be creative and problem solve and be an amazing coach. But if we're so much in the energy of others, we forget about our own energy, right? We forget about what are we actually really excited about. If I go to a conference, I will want to take on that conference and do something with it until I come home and go, why did I want to? Do I want to actually do that? I don't think I do, right? I can get swept away with the energy of other people. So knowing that about myself, I make no decisions when I'm at conferences. I make no decisions when I'm in group. I'll think about it and I come back into my own energy. And I think that own energy, like you said, with the essential oils and being in your own energy, but it's a good thing to like be in nature. Nature is neutral energy. It just fills up your bucket, right? Being in a space where taking naps, taking care of your vessel, which is your body. Those are times when you're going to really come back into yourself and feel what is alignment for you. So I think that's really important, is that having that space and time in your own energy to sort of say, is this fit for me? Was this somebody else's belief? Why do I think this is true? Right. So that's one part. And then the second part, I think, is also being around people of like mind who are doing exciting things, because it helps me to see what's possible. I live in possibilities. That's my view in my human design. So I love being around people that see possibility, and entrepreneurs are like my favorite people, right? Because we're always thinking about what's possible, and oh, I got a solution, and I think I know what you, and hey, have you thought about it in this way? So I think, you are the 5 people that you spend the most time with. I love that saying, because that energy can amplify you. And then you take that amplified energy and you sit in a little cave. No, I'm just kidding. But you sit under a tree and then be like, okay, what is actually true for me? And then from that place, I take action. So when I'm feeling burnt out, I will either sit with friends that embody wisdom and love and unconditional healing, or I'll go in nature and just be with myself and see what needs to happen. It just depends on what part of the spectrum I have too much of, right? So yeah, that's me.
Yeah, that was really good. I think, both things you were talking about, nature and then being around people who inspire you and that create that possibility in you, are so healing, because you can feel yourself light up. Like you can actually probably feel it when you're there, right? I know when I go for those walks, I'm like, oh, I just feel it. Or when you're around those entrepreneurs that get you so excited, you're like, I feel it again, right? All those great things. So I love that, Sheetal. Thank you so much. And Jennifer.
Great question, because it's really why I do what I do. For so many years, as Sheetal said, and you as well, Nicole, I thought I had to earn my happy, earn my joy. I had to do enough so that I could be joyful or be happy. And today I know that it's the exact opposite. My joy is my fuel. And so what I do with my clients is I show them how to reverse that process so that you are actually starting from a place of what you love. And I don't know if you guys know who Marcus Buckingham is, but he wrote a book called Love and Work. And he talks a lot about the idea of, you know, your productivity and your successes are going to come when you're doing what you love. And so really flipping the script on that idea of I have to earn it, like you all mentioned, and that idea of I'm not worthy unless I have earned it is really what we work on in my coaching and in my consulting, when people are really just at that burnout stage, right? And they just don't know where to go. They've done all the things, but they don't have what they desire. They don't have the joy. They don't have the freedom, even though the money is in the bank, because they feel trapped in this cycle of I have to keep up with it. So yeah, that was a great question.
Yeah,
I love that.
love it. So Nicole, did you go? Did you get to go? I'm sorry about
Oh,
that.
no, that's okay. No, it's totally great. For me, I can get really serious sometimes, even though, I have this other side of me that's like fun and wants to go do all the great fun things, but I can get so serious when I'm trying to create and when I'm trying to produce things for the kids and I and the family and my business. And of course, it comes from stories. There's so many stories behind that are driving that. But what I am craving so much lately is fun and joy. And one of the main things is dancing. Dancing always brings me so much joy. I put on music and I do it, just dance and have fun. But nature is so huge for me. I feel like I could literally go hiking every day if somebody would with me. Go hiking and be in nature every day. I would love to do that. I'm like, can I just do that? Can I just do that? But there's certain things that I love to just do now. And the more I do that, like even just turning up the music louder in my car, because I used to do that when I was younger and it was always really fun. And so I'm trying to bring in all those things, and that just sparks more joy in me. And then I don't take my job so seriously. I don't take things as seriously. I'm like, I can breathe again and I can see things through a different lens. And so those are things. And then just like Sheetal was talking about, I love being around you all. Like hearing you talk and talking about possibility gets me so excited. And seeing that, there's so much room to move and we don't even know even close to how far we can go yet, right? And so that inspires me as well. Those are the things that do. And one last thing I'm going to say is that I was thinking about back when I was really young, and I like to do this with my clients sometimes. And I'm like, who was I when I was really young? And I just love to have fun. I remember my parents were just like, you just smiled all the time. And sometimes I'm like, where does that get lost along the way? Where do those, that little you who just thought the world was so incredible and everything was so fun, what happens to her along the way? And so everything I'm doing now, that I try to bring back more of that again, more me, more like who I was born to be, who I was when I was first so little, because that was really when I was like so happy, like so excited. Possibility was everything. And so I just wanted to bring that up. That's one thing I just love to bring back sometimes, is those times when you were young and when before the stories came in. Who were you? What did you love?
This has been such a beautiful conversation, and I think we could go on for a whole day or two. And so if anybody that's watching this is loving it as much as we are to have these deep conversations, and you want us to have another one, let us know, because I definitely want to be back in this room with these people again. So give me an excuse to invite them back. But I also know that all of you have offers and you have coaching things that you do. And this will be on YouTube and it will be timeless. So I don't know if you want to put your current offer on, or you want to just tell about you and where to reach you. But I really want to respect your business and yourself and allow you space to do that. So I'm going to start with you, Jennifer. And then you can just pass the ball afterwards.
Yes. So I do have an executive coaching program where I work with team leaders and executives to really show them, as I mentioned before, how do we get what we want when we already have the money, but we don't have the things that we desired and we thought the money was going to give us. And really how to adjust the way that we run an organization so that we can create this culture of joy and a workplace that really fosters an idea of joy as your fuel. So we have corporate programs for entire organizations that can be applied to teams, as well as executive coaching. And I have a team of people that help me deliver that.
That's beautiful. And I'm going to just pass it on, but I wanted just to say that we'll make sure that we'll put all of you guys' contact information in the show notes too. So don't worry about that. But I love that people are getting to feel your hearts today, because this is why I do what I do. Like, this is so amazing to be able to hear the hearts and the soul of why you do these things, and then how you bring that to life. That's such a unique offer. And I just see that, like, we see this need and we just jump in and go, I can feel that need. I can help these people that are really often praying for somebody to come forward. And so I love that. Sheetal, what about you?
So I help women who are going through grief. So I'm a spiritual grief counselor. I have some very special gifts to help people in going through transition, specifically women. And then I also help women who are six-figure, seven-figure, and eight-figure entrepreneurs who are wanting to live more in alignment with their spirituality and their cosmic design. And I do both of those. I can be reached through my website, which is www.sheetalstory.com. Super easy. I also have a podcast, which actually recently launched at the beginning of September, and it's called The Story of Spirit. So I often share things around mediumship, intuition, astrology, all the magical things, manifestation as well. So they can listen on the podcast, and there's always freebies in the show notes that I give away to kind of help people deepen their understanding of their own gifts and talents, and to become more secure with trusting themselves and their intuition. And I do very, very few readings. So I still have space for readings, but you're lucky if you get into a calendar spot. I normally book about 4 to 6 months out. So I often say, keep trying. If you get in, it's great. And then you can always message me and I'll get you in. So there's, if you want to book with me, that's the best way to go about it. Thank you.
I love it. Thank you for serving. It's just, I watch you light up as you talk about how you serve. And so anybody that puts a glass ceiling on somebody and they say, pick one thing, you've got too many things on the go, I'm like, no, don't put her in a box. She's just doing amazing work. Oh, so good. Nicole, what about you? How do you serve? Because you have a million modalities as well.
Well, thank you so much. So my company name is Next Step with Nicole Renee, and you can find my website is nextstepwithnicolerenee.com. I do quite a few different things. So I do, oh my gosh. So I do exercise programs in the morning that I love to do with people. It's called Hypnosize. So we, use affirmations as we move so that you're really feeling powerful, both mind and body, to start your day. So that's one thing I do. I have programs, my Thrive program, which is a 12-week program, which really helps you train your body and your mind so that you can actually use everything you were given to live out your most incredible life and feel deep vitality. So that is something I love to do. I do one-to-one, of course, coaching too, programs, usually 12 weeks is one, and then a 6-month. I also am partnered with a wellness company, and so I sell their beautiful products that really help you live, again, a more holistic life. They have supplements and oh my gosh, there's skincare, all of that. So I do that. I run teams in there as well. So I help people that really want to join a Thrive team where you can, help people have their healthiest lives as well as create a business for yourself. And so those are kind of the things that I do. I also do express coaching, so different modalities all the way through. But my whole thing is that you were meant to do incredible, incredible things in this world. And I really don't want any woman who comes into my life to not believe that and to see all that she has and all that she is. And so, yes, you can reach me through there. And I have to say, I've had Sheetal's readings too. And it was phenomenal, phenomenal. So I've been very lucky to be one of those people that got the readings. But yeah, so those are the ways you can work with me, and it is my pleasure to do so. So,
Wow.
and Debbie, how about you?
Well, I told you at the beginning that I am the founder of the Empowering You community. And what that really is building a place where people, entrepreneurs, heart-centered entrepreneurs, really can understand that it only takes one heart-centered entrepreneur to change the world. So that thing that you went through in order to figure out and come out the other side, there's a reason for it. And it is not a punishment. It is not a bad thing, even if it was like one of the worst things you ever went through. I want to pull that out of you so that you understand what a gift that is and how you can be a gift to the world through that experience. And so I'm empowering you, but I'm doing it from what do you want, not who are you at the core essence. My whole life I spent being somebody else in order to please and feel loved. And that there is that correlation where it's like you are unconditionally loved and accepted. And that's thing that could be magic for somebody else. Let's help you get that out there. So I help people create courses, retreats. If they write in a book, I do not help them write the book, but I help them take the book and turn it into a course or a speaking engagement or whatever else to get them seen and heard so the world can find you as the resource they're praying for. So there's all of that. Any last final words? You have that thing that you always end with, that one sentence, that one word, whatever it may be. Let's pass it around the horn and then we will be complete. Sheetal, I'll start with you.
I just feel like whoever's watching this is going to find it at the right and perfect time. And it's just an invitation that there is so many nuggets of wisdom that was passed around today. And if you see nothing else, but notice that these four amazing women on the screen, I'm going to count myself among them, have all gone through the stuff, the shit is the word I want to use, and have come out on the other side with so much knowledge and wisdom and gifts and superpowers because of it. So if you're going through the shit and you're finding us this time, congratulations, you're in the right place. Thank you for being here. And it does get better. And this is going to create a superpower for you. Just stay the course. I'm sorry it sucks right now, but you've come to the right place.
Chills. Absolutely. Jennifer.
I'm just going to tag on to that because that was absolutely perfect. Yes, we all have a journey and we don't always love every part of it. And one of the first messages that I shared with the world was that your greatest superpower is just on the other side of your greatest fear. And when we're in that shit, we have so much fear that can, if you choose it, lead us. But when you choose to set it aside and say, I'm going to move forward through it and figure out what's on the other side. I might not know exactly how, but I'm going to trust that there's something amazing on the other side. That really is the most powerful place that you can be. So I encourage everyone to keep going.
Wow, Nicole, thank you, Jennifer.
That was beautiful, Jennifer and Sheetal, so beautiful. And I think anybody that's here right now, I remember when I was going through my darkest times, that videos like this and podcasts truly saved me in so many ways, because I'd put them in when I was so sad and just put my earphones on and I would listen and I would hear inspiration and I would hear possibility and I would know that there's more than what is happening right now. And what was happening right now was deep for me and it was scary for me, but I also knew that there was people out there like this that couldn't wait to help you. And so what I do suggest is to reach out to someone to help you, reach out to someone you trust, someone you believe in to help you, because I will say that it has always been community that has lifted me up. It's always been the women in my life who have lifted me off the ground. And I am so incredibly grateful for each and every one of them, because today I'm doing what I want to do. Today I'm living way more into who I want to be. And it's only because other people saw more in me than I saw in myself.
So beautiful. My message is similar. We're here talking about wealth reimagined, and yet we have had so much more than a money conversation. So I really want everyone to understand that there is something that was said here today that you needed to hear. And when you hear it, whether it triggers you and it kind of like bubbles up, that's okay. Allow it to come up so it can be seen, because it might be a limiting belief. It might be something that they wanted you to see it as a different perspective. But I promise you that when you can shift the way you look at things, the way your world is seen from the outside in, everything shifts. It's that ripple effect of knowing that you've gone through something, that you've seen it from a different perspective, from that empowered of what do I truly want versus reactive. And I know that these women on this screen wouldn't be here in this particular role if they weren't somebody that could see things from a different perspective. And so that's what I want for you too. Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.